evening, and welcome to another edition of the Vintage Spoon Wrestling Podcast. I am joined, as always. I never introduce myself. I'm not going to. I'm Spoon. I'm joined, as always, by our wrestling expert, the Jimmy Mouth of the South Heart of this podcast, Ross Harmston. How are you doing, man?
Very good. I feel better now. I was a bit ill, but now I'm all good.
It's all right. You being ill meant we got to interview Vintage and had our best episode. So we need to make you.
I don't know if there's a recurring theme or something with that.
No connection at all. And speaking of that, we are, as always, joined by professional wrestler and I think still a reigning champion, Vintage Benjamin Shelley. How are you doing, man? Are you still champ?
Well, of course, I'm still champion, peasant. There's only one person deserving of that championship.
Oh my God, we got to do a whole podcast with you doing the voice sometime.
No, let's not.
It's gonna kill your throat. Oh, have you had a match this week?
Yes, I wrestled Saturday, just gone. But yeah, decent match. So I'm happy with it.
Excellent. That's what it's about. Having a good time. Good crowd?
Yes. Probably about 100, I think.
Nice.
Didn't actually ask how much we drew, but yeah, it's about 100, I think.
Excellent.
Did any kids try and hit you this time?
Did any kids try and hit me? I want to say, I think they followed me round, but I don't think there was any physical contact. No, I'll tell you what it was. There was, because I do this bit where when I enter, I kind of like tell everyone who I am and do my posing, and then I'll go round and have a look at the front row and just give them some grief and just some observational, some observations about them. Nice. And then the last woman I came to was wearing a very, very revealing low cut top, and I had a whale of a time with that.
Oh no, Vintage.
No, I just told her it's a family show. No one wants to see it. Put them away. That sort of thing.
Oh, you're like right to censor. Fantastic.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because when you were talking about doing the intros and doing our comparison trio, the one that came into my head was right to censoring. With you being, well, you'd probably choose Stevie Richards. I could be Bob Buchanan, and Ross could be
Buchanan.
Ivory.
Ivory.
Or Val Venus.
That would definitely be Val Venus.
You've just reminded me of an item we need to add. So we've got a few things to talk about tonight. We're gonna talk about Raw. We're gonna talk about SmackDown, and we're gonna talk quickly go over our Royal Rumble predictions and see how they went. I don't think we need to go too into them at the moment.
Well, do we? I think we do, just to see who won it and who won the predictions.
Yeah, I think to call it's quite a close race, and there's lots of points to add up, and
it was really hard to it was really hard to kind of keep a track of it, but we'll do our best to just briefly mention Ross won. But you reminded me. Speaking of Ivory, we should do a little chat about the Hall of Fame. We've had a few announcements for the Hall of Fame for WrestleMania that have come out in the last couple of weeks. Couple this week. Goldberg we knew already. He's the big one for the year. That's an obvious one. But recently, I think this week we've added Ivory, who is, I guess, the women's entrant. They only ever seem to have one, and the Dudleys are going to be in the Hall of Fame. Good picks.
Yeah, I think with the Dudleys, it was going to happen anyway, wasn't it? Because they've retired. Well, they've retired from WWE, from the ring. So it's one of those things, I guess. When you see them retire, I guess then you're like, okay, then they're probably going to be put in the Hall of Fame either that year or the year after.
I think it's and I think Bubba kind of retired. Full stop. This at the end of last year. I don't know. Yeah. It certainly toned it right down. So, so good one. I think Dudleys are a big one to add. Because they're the stuff that they did in the Attitude Era amazing. And we were talking a bit about ECW last week, and it's crazy when you think about how short a time the Dudleys were actually in ECW for, and how much they did on there. You sort of think of them as these big ECW guys, but the WWE run was way, way longer. Vintage, any thoughts on Hall of Fame?
So you pretty much covered it. I mean, they're probably arguably up there as one of the best tag teams of all time, one of the most decorated tag teams of all time. Ivory, fair shout. She was solid. Not too exciting, but she was, a good solid worker, and she seemed to be well respected backstage as well. And I think that was the whole thing about it, because she was a lot older when she joined the WWE locker room. She wasn't getting up to the sorts of shenanigans that we have the likes of Paige doing nowadays.
Sure. I mean, did you see, I think it was NBC put their foot in it. They tweeted when the news was announced, but tweeted it was Victoria who was going into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yes.
Really?
And tagged her in it as well.
Yep, tagged her on Twitter, told her she was going in the Hall of Fame, and then just deleted the tweet and said, "Oh no, sorry, someone else." Like,
because I was going to say Victoria worked a local show around here recently.
Can you imagine?
I think it was Jade she worked. Maybe.
Okay. Like, I mean, presumably you'd assume that. You'd have heard. Like, you wouldn't just see it on Twitter if you were going in the Hall of Fame.
Like NBC.
But never mind. Well, there'll, I'm sure, be a few more Hall of Fame entrants as it going. Are Edge and Christian in the Hall of Fame yet? I can never remember.
I
don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Because I think maybe
Christian's definitely not.
No, maybe Edge is as a solo, but they're not as a team. Can't remember.
Yeah.
And the Hardys definitely aren't, so that'll come up at some point, I guess, once they retire. But let's talk about what stuff has happened this week. We're going to run through a couple of kind of weird shows.
In fact, before we do that, should we do my segment?
Let's do your segment. You love an interruption. Is this On This Day in Wrestling?
Yes. It makes sense as we're talking about this week. So I was a bit worried because the website that I steal this from hadn't been updated. And we still show Valentine's Day, so we were going to have to talk about yesterday and the St. Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view.
Of course.
Which was the debut of Paul White, but that's not important anymore because we're talking about
Big
the
nasty. Okay. What you got?
So 1998, we had the In Your House, No Way Out of Texas, which was in Texas.
Surprise.
This one was a bit weird. So the reason I mentioned this one is because the main event was a 6-man tag. No, 8-man tag.
The main event was
Eight.
Yes, an 8-man tag. It was Austin, Cactus Jack, Chainsaw Charlie, and Owen Hart against DX, which was Triple H, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and Savio Vega, who was subbing for Shawn Michaels.
Oh my god, that would have been during Owen's Blackheart run when he was a sort of heel / face, like anti-hero trying to take out the McMahons, and it was like a work shoot thing based on the Montreal Screwjob. That was a really, really good gimmick. And then they were like, no, be the Blue Blazer instead. And just killed it dead.
Yeah. And then moving on, in 2004, we had the No Way Out pay-per-view, which is noted where it was Eddie's first and only title run, Eddie Guerrero defeating Brock Lesnar in the main event.
What a night.
Yeah.
That was fantastic time.
Then 2009, we had another No Way Out pay-per-view, and this one had 2 elimination chambers.
Oh yeah, that was before they had Elimination Chamber as its own pay-per-view, wasn't it? And they just threw them around. It's not the one with the tag team Elimination Chamber, is it?
It's not, but they bookended the show with the 2 brands.
Okay.
So this one's really weird. So you had Edge going in as the WWE champion against Big Show, Triple H, Taker, Vladimir Kozlov, and Jeff Hardy.
Right.
Vladimir Kozlov.
So who won that one?
Probably Edge.
Oh, Triple H.
Oh, okay.
And interestingly, the main event had so that was the SmackDown one, and so Edge was obviously champion going in and lost at Triple H for his 13th run, I think. Something
Okay.
like that. And then the main event was John Cena as the champion versus Kofi Kingston versus Jericho versus Mike Knox versus Kane versus Rey Mysterio.
Wow.
And this one was really weird because Edge jump-started on Kofi and took his place in the Elimination Chamber.
That's the one. Yeah, he lost the belt earlier in it, and then and then he jumps Kofi, and that was Kofi's like first main event push. Like that was his first time in it, and he just got beaten up, and and Edge just takes him out and then jumps in the match, and then I think Edge wins that one, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and that's that's the ultimate opportunist thing.
Yeah.
Yes, so he was SmackDown and won the Raw belt on the pay-per-view.
That's so good.
That's cool, yeah.
I love Edge. Just that whole run is so good.
And then just finishing this off,
okay.
In 2011, Chris Jericho's second book, Undisputed, is officially released.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Big day.
Nice.
Obviously a big day.
Yeah.
There we go. A lot of things happening in wrestling this month. This on this day. Right, let's get into it. Let's get into some TV stuff. Let's talk Raw, and then we'll talk SmackDown. I got a whole rundown of what went down on the show, so let's go through it and just jump in.
Hang on, have you done some preparation for this podcast?
I've actually prepped this. I'm going to Brian Alvarez this. We're going to go through and talk about this bit by bit. So the show opens up. We've got Cena comes out, cuts a promo. Miz interrupts him. They have a pretty nice promo back together. I like any time that Cena and Miz are doing stuff together. They work well together because they just rip it out of each other. I've never worked out. Do you reckon there is actual tension between Miz and Cena? Because they kayfabe talk about how there sort of is a problem between them, but they've worked together loads.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Miz is just really, really good at, I don't know, making it see. Well, because I don't think it's similar to the Daniel Bryan thing that he has with Daniel Bryan. I just think Miz is really good at working an angle and then making it believable.
Yeah,
making you go, is it real? Is it not? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, I think it's probably. I can't imagine that they would have had to work that many times together and that they would work that well with each other if they hated. I mean, Brett and Sean. But...
Yeah, I was literally going to say Brett and Sean.
Yeah.
But you never know. So they have an argument. Cena challenges Miz to a match, says whoever loses goes in the chamber first. So the Miztourage, of course, beat John Cena up because John Cena is stupid. He's like Sting levels of stupid.
I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's just I can't try and get my words out. I don't know if he just thinks that actually he can take the beat down and still win anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's possible.
You know, he never gives up. You know,
he never gives up. Never give up. Never surrender.
Never gives up.
Can you edit out me talking really badly, please?
No. I hate his green. I know it's a really petty side thing, but I hate this lime green rebrand. It's really obnoxious.
All his colours really are the ones. He always has like the most. I just liked it when he had like the black Rise of Hate one. That was a really good one.
When he was feuding with Kane. He embraced the hate. Great times. So Kurt comes out, throws Miztourage out of the ring, not literally, sends him to the back. Match goes ahead. Of course, Cena wins. It was a decent match. They've all got enough spots and things to do that. I love Miz's little DDT from the knees. I think that when he drops him to the knees and then DDTs them, I just think it looks great.
Yeah.
But of course, Miz loses. Cena jumps in the crowd, gives an armband to a Make-A-Wish kid because he's the best. Of course.
I watched this video on YouTube of like 10 minutes of people telling, like, they did a recording of how much John Cena had impacted their lives and made their lives better. And they played it to John Cena and he starts crying and they all come in the room to hug him.
Oh, bless. That's amazing. That was slightly the point where CM Punk lost me on the Colt Cabana interview, was when he said he did more Make-A-Wish, or as many Make-A-Wish visits as John Cena did when he was champion. I thought, that doesn't sound likely, but maybe it did. So Miz has lost. Miz is going to enter the Elimination Chamber first, which is a huge disadvantage. Cena gets a big advantage, unless, of course, he enters second, because there is literally no difference between those two positions.
That is a very good point. It's like getting number one in the Royal Rumble and avoiding getting number one and then getting number two.
Yeah.
That's why, like, poor Rey Mysterio, who's like won the has won the Royal Rumble, but from number 2 rather than number 1, and it just doesn't sound quite as cool as, despite the fact he was in for twice the amount of time that Shawn Michaels was when he won from number 1. So they get to the back. There's a Matt Hardy promo. Says delete a lot. These are starting to feel stale already.
They just have no idea what they're doing with it, do they?
Nope. No. There's like we've been promised that there's going to be Hardy Compound. We've been promised that there's going to be other characters from the Broken Universe. It's just him saying delete and laughing.
I mean, to be fair, on his YouTube channel, he is posting stuff with his kid, and there was a teaser of Senor Benjamin saying "Get my," I think he said something, "Get my coat," or the coat he wears. So I guess, but it's like that thing of going, well, if you don't follow Matt Hardy on, you're going to see these things that people,
In fairness, though, you are expected to follow all the WWE superstars on Twitter just in case there's a match announcement.
Well, that's why they put their Twitter feeds up on them. So, but there's going to be a bunch. There's promos from all the guys who are in the 5-way at the end of the thing at the end of the event. So they're doing a lot of this stuff.
They're starting to do a lot of that thing where they're filming themselves talking about what position, like especially in the Royal Rumble, there was loads of that, and they're starting to do it more so now. I assume it's like the Twitter sort of like video of them going, you know what, I may be in the Elimination Chamber, but I'm going to win, and it's always that shaky hand, like hallway talk.
Balor did one of these. On this show where they're just talking into their phone, and I always think, where does Finn Balor keep his phone in those tiny pants? Like,
don't worry about it, Spoon. Don't lose any sleep over
it. So that
maybe he hides it between two abs.
One of his abs is just a phone, just detaches. So we get a tag match. It's the Club versus the Revival. Revival jump them before the match.
Do we care about this match?
No,
I was not interested in this match one bit.
Why are the Club faces now?
And why is this nerd thing? Why is this nerd thing really like? Every time I hear this nerd thing, I'm like, oh my god.
They've been doing it for years now. It's like 2 years that they've been doing this. They were doing it to Cena when Styles first came there.
The most annoying thing about that is the crowd go mental when he said, like, they love it when he says nerd.
It sells shirts, I guess. It's god, I hate it. That happens. Revival get a win. That's nice to see. They need some building back up after Raw 25. So then we get to some actual interesting news. Kurt comes out and he tells us that his son Jason Jordan is going to be out of action until after WrestleMania.
Yay!
Oh, Jason.
Did you hear the amount of pop that got as well?
Yes.
Everyone started cheering, and then he had to do some weird thing where he went, look, I'm just going to talk to you as a person, not even as a father, but you should not cheer for people being injured. They are still human beings.
I know. It's like... Jason Jordan is so over as a heel. I'm actually really sad about this because I think he was in a really strong position. I really liked what they were doing with this kind of like he's still acting like a babyface, but he's becoming a heel, and it's a very, in almost a clever way. It's similar to what Kurt did in his initial run. where he's just over-egging the fact that people hate baby faces who try too hard now. I think that was great. The curse of Seth Rollins, of course, continues. Everyone who has teamed with Seth Rollins recently has ended up with a very serious injury.
To be fair, though, it's not just his tag partners. People he wrestles, he ends up injuring as well.
Yeah,
just anyone that's in the ring with him.
Go nowhere near Seth Rollins. He will...
The guy in the back who he just walks past may get like a broken neck or something.
He had his old tights on again this time. The flame tights have gone. So I'm guessing the guy who makes his new tights got injured as well. It's like his life is just the WWE 2K advert. It's just things exploding around him.
But yeah, I'm really disappointed about Double J because it was so stop-start and up and down with him, and just as soon as it was looking like it was going somewhere, this happens to him, and maybe he'll come back and we'll actually start to like him, or maybe he'll just tend to like a Dolph Ziggler.
I hope so. He went through this weird thing where everyone loved him because he was a great worker in American Alpha, and then he got saddled with this awful gimmick that made everyone kind of forget how good he was, and we all started to resent him and dislike him as a person. As a talent, say he's no good. Then he manages to actually get this thing over, and now he's injured, and it's a terrible time for him to get injured right in the middle of his push, right in the middle of his momentum. He's going to be out for ages. By the time he comes back, it's going to be after Mania, so we're going to have a bunch of NXT call-ups. There's going to be a whole load of new people on the card. It's going to be really hard for him to find his spot again when he gets back. I hope he does, because
I think the crowd will still give him a pop when he comes back, if that's booing or cheering, but it probably will be booing, but that's good if that's what they want to go with, him being a heel.
Yeah.
Would it help if Kurt Angle was actually managing him at ringside?
Definitely. Yeah, that'd really help him. But I think Kurt has to be I think they're set on Kurt being a face, and it's quite hard to get Kurt over as a heel now.
No, I just, because that's the thing, they should ditch the GM thing and have him manage Double J. And then what would be great is if they did it like the whole dad taking his little boy to amateur wrestling class. When he's like on the apron giving him advice.
That'd be so good.
Son, go for the leg. That's it. Open him up. Turn him over. Go for the pin. Oh,
I'd love that. Like a soccer dad.
Living vicariously through Jason.
But there's another point to that promo. After Kurt said this, Seth Rollins with his old tights comes out and says, "Hey Kurt, I want you to put me in the match, the qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber tonight for literally no reason." Because I've lost all of my recent matches, so there's no reason why you should be. I changed my tights. I changed my tights. And Kurt's like, yeah, sure, why not? Whatever, wrestling.
And that's why he needs to go. That's why he needs to give up the GM role. He lied in his application. He was not qualified to do that job.
It's just
he
terrible.
He doesn't even ask. Well, Kurt Angle doesn't even do it. He goes, well, I'll let the WWE Universe decide.
Oh, don't call them
that. Yeah.
And they just cheer for anything.
Yeah. So, okay, well, now you're going to be...
Yeah, that's us. We're the universe.
Yeah. Oh, dear. So Seth Rollins is now in the Fatal 5-Way that will happen. That happens later on in the show. We then get a Bray Wyatt promo. Who cares? Sasha Banks versus Bayley.
This was weird.
Really? I thought this was a really good match. Not quite at their NXT match level, but...
But why is it booked?
Yeah, well, Sasha eliminated her from the Royal Rumble. This is the thing I don't understand with this sort of Sasha Bayley thing, is I really hope it's going somewhere. I really want it to be a heel turn by one of them, because they've done a lot of really good seed work where it's like, they're best friends, but the commentators are always sort of saying, well, she shouldn't trust Sasha. Sasha's just in it for herself. If there was a Bayley heel turn in the middle of it, or either of them, I think it could be really good. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is just something they're doing between the two of them because they're mates. I don't think they're actually...
It's still in time, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think they've been doing a Twitter thing again, like where they've been going backwards and forwards, and then I think it was Bailey's hometown, wasn't it?
Yeah, so she's finally got a win in her hometown where she lost the belt ages ago, and
and a win full stop.
Yes, she needed.
Yeah.
I think Sasha is really on form at the moment. Like she's turning in so many good matches right now. There's always the worry she's going to kill herself on any of them because her bumps are insane. But
to be fair, she also injured Paige as well.
That's true, but that was a dumb spot to have been booked. I don't think that was her fault. I think that was the sort of thing that anyone could have done, and it was a pre-booked spot, from what I understand. So whoever came up with the idea of someone with a neck injury taking a blind kick to the back is insane. I wouldn't blame that on Sasha. But then at the end of it, we sort of hope, is this storyline between the two of them? Nope, it's an excuse for Nia to come out and kill both of them. So she comes out and just murders them both.
It just seems like they don't know what they're doing with the women's division at the moment.
No.
From what I understand, from what rumors seem to be saying, is that they are trying to get Asuka moved over to SmackDown as soon as possible so that Asuka and Charlotte can be the WrestleMania match. And to get Asuka away from Ronda Rousey, who is signing for Raw. Because
why did they put on the Raw brand in the first place?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Why did you have a thing where she looked at... why have you built it up with Charlotte, where she approached Charlotte and the other women, and then have her come out at the end of Rumble and look at Charlotte and then go, actually, no, she's going to go to Raw. So she's probably going to fight Alexa Bliss. Or whoever.
Yeah, I guess. This is assuming that Alexa still has the title after Elimination Chamber.
Because that's the whole thing. By having Asuka on Raw, there's no reason why she doesn't get a title shot against Alexa. Whereas at least if she got put on SmackDown first, there was the opportunity to do a to and fro with Charlotte.
Yeah, I
think
be
competitive.
Which is probably a bad thing, but I think everything is being booked kind of around Ronda Rousey now. I think Ronda is Raw, so they want to get Asuka away from Ronda so that you have your money match kicked down the road to the future. So they'll do something like, they'll probably do Ronda. They're building up Nia now, so maybe Nia takes the belt from Alexa Bliss, and then you get and then you're going to have Nia versus Ronda Rousey. At maybe Mania or maybe SummerSlam, something like that. Whereas you get Charlotte versus Asuka as your WrestleMania match, and then like further down the line, somewhere SummerSlam or maybe WrestleMania next year, you get to have Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte or versus Asuka. I think that's where they're going with it, which is why they're doing stuff with Nia.
How are they going to do that? How are they going to do her coming over to SmackDown now?
I think Shane McMahon will probably tweet it, and then that will be it. That'll be the only explanation that they get. I mean, she can technically, because she can declare who she wants to go after as the Royal Rumble winner. She could say which belt she wants. So if she chooses Charlotte, I guess that means she becomes SmackDown. That's probably how they'll do it.
Yeah.
What else have we got? I wrote Nia's got a really nice perm at the moment. Put a lot of work into that. Spent a bit of time in one of those big hair dryers in the salon. Yeah.
I didn't understand that angle as well. That Enzo angle.
It was fun.
Very weird. It was weird. Like, you're supposed to build her up as this like big, like beast. I don't know. It's just weird. And then you're having her twiddling her hair over Enzo Amore. It's very odd.
It made no sense.
Hey, don't you objectify her. Just because she's a big girl who can murder you doesn't mean she's not allowed to fancy whatever Enzo is.
Yeah.
But it was kind of
she's allowed to be feminine.
It is, but it's kind of like, and we'll talk about this with Braun in a bit. How kind of big talent or strong talent are either booked as killer monsters or they're booked as kind of comedy characters. And with Nia, they were doing it at the same time. Like, she was this kind of monster who was coming to kill everyone in the ring, but also she was having like a kind of Mark Henry Big Show level comedy skit going on backstage. So it's probably good for her that that's done.
Yeah.
So move on from the women for a bit. We get a Titus Worldwide promo. So it occurred to me this: what is Dana Brooke writing in all of these like she's got this clipboard and she's been told her new gimmick is she's the accountant. And in any of these programs, she's just writing stuff or pretending to write stuff. And it's like, what are you doing taxes during a promo? Or
to be fair, Spoonie, we are coming up to the end of the financial year.
I suppose.
How are you doing taxes?
But hasn't she got like, doesn't she need notes or yeah, she's just doing a tax return.
Or maybe she's paid by the hour, so she pretended to work.
It's sort of, it reminded me of old like Survivor Series promos where all the people in the background are like doing something, like just kind of stroking a 2x4, Jim Duggan with waving a 2x4, or just kind of like pretend talking to each other. Just really weird. I really like Dana Brooke. She's not very good in the ring, but she's just that cool cartwheel, and she's just, I don't know, she's kind of funny. It's just something I like about it. So then we get Absolution, which is now 2 people plus Paige.
No, because Paige was there.
Paige was there. Yeah, she's kind of a manager now. Even though they use her music and she's in her ring gear, we hope she comes back sometime. But it's Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville versus Alexa Bliss and Mickie James,
who are tagged together. Why?
It's a nice kind of. I quite like this thing.
Didn't they hate each other?
Yeah, they had a promo where they talked about it, and they kind of. I like this idea that there's this nice thing going on with Alexa Bliss, where she's kind of having to go and make friends with all of the people that she's been horrible to over the last year because Absolution want to kill her. So she's kind of. I quite like that as a storyline. The match wasn't very good.
I was going to say none of this is coming across. I don't feel a threat of Absolution like ganging up on Alexa Bliss. This story's not being told very well if that's what they're going for.
It's hard. With Paige injured, it's really hard to get 2 new people who are green as hell over as a really terrifying threat, even though they keep getting wins. They're just
Can't they get that other one from SmackDown and stick her in? Because wasn't that the whole idea, that they had a substitute stable on standby just in case Paige got injured?
Just switch them out, see
if anyone notices.
Yeah. DeVille's punches. We were talking about punches on the interview show that we did last week, and about why you don't throw punches in a wrestling match because they look really fake. DeVille's look awful, like Shane McMahon awful. I
think the difficulty for her is that it's really difficult not to stiff people because she's been training for like 10 years how to knock someone out. So
a little bit, yeah. She's a bit of an MMA fighter, but she's not like done too many professional fights. She's sort of. Like she just needs to make her money now and get some gimmick across. She needs to get over now before people like Ronda and actual MMA people come in and just steal all of that.
I feel that I think she's gonna disappear after Ronda comes out.
I think
Ronda and Shayna Baszler. I think she'll disappear. Which is a shame.
So they finish the match. They win the match. They beat down Mickie James. Alexa Bliss makes the save. She's sort of a face now, I guess, but she might just turn on everyone. I quite like that. Which gets to the big segment of the show. Elias comes out.
God damn it.
Does his walk with Elias catchphrase, which is way more over than a heel's catchphrase should be.
He's got merch as well with that on.
Yeah, that's his.
Yeah.
He sings his song. He gets interrupted by Braun Strowman, who comes out with a double bass
and his new merch.
And his new merch. Get these hands.
Get these hands.
What
do you mean? I don't understand. What do you mean? Get these hands from where? Where do I get them?
Get these hands and put them on my merchandise.
So, there's merch talk in the SmackDown rundown as well. But so he takes this double bass. He plays a sort of song, but it breaks because it's gimmicked. It breaks straight away, but that's fine because Braun's strong. So he just breaks stuff. So he just finishes the song. Anyway, and then he comes out, beats up Elias, power slam, takes the double bass, and just destroys him with the double bass, breaks it over him. What do we think of this?
It's so stupid. Like, why? Also, he can't sing. he's all right, but because he's so bloody nervous, he's going, like you can hear that his voice is like really nervous. So like, why do that to someone that you built up, that you literally tried to show he kills people, he lifts up bloody trucks, he lives in a garbage truck and can get crushed and still live. Like, and then you go, oh, you know what would be good? Let's have him singing an awful song with a massive double. What was it? Double bass?
Yeah, I think so. Or a cello.
Yeah.
He's like a big Jeff Jarrett suddenly, or Honky Tonk Man.
It's weird.
Oh, it's so strange.
Weird booking.
So I think the other disappointment for me is the kind of burying of Elias at the same time. Not so much buried, but stole a lot of Elias's momentum, because they were obviously trying to really build Elias at this point, and all the stuff that was seen was obviously trying to get Elias up there, and then unfortunately writers ran out of ideas and decided to let Braun come along and
I don't know why Elias is in the Elimination Chamber. He's sort of the token underdog heel or underdog character. There's always somebody in it who you're like, oh, they wouldn't expect them to be in the match, like a John Morrison or a Kofi Kingston or something. Yeah. Maybe Edge is going to come and take out Elias to take his spot.
I'm going to put them past them.
But I think there were better. I would have liked to have seen Apollo Crews in that slot. I think he could have done a few really interesting spots before getting eliminated. I just don't dig Elias. The thing was funny with the guitar. I do worry that with Braun doing comedy skits, it is the first step on his journey to the mid card. It happens to Big Show. It happened to it happens to every big guy. You're a monster for a little while, and then you don't win the belt, and then you start doing just comedy segments.
I'll just imagine it backstage. Vince turning around and going, Hunter, did they laugh at that? Yes, they did. Let's keep them laughing.
Yeah.
Let's next time send them out with I don't know, something even bigger, like a piano. He's gonna lift the piano and he's gonna hit the lights.
Yeah.
Was it 3 weeks ago? Like, Braun's gimmick was that Kurt kept coming up to him and saying, Braun, please stop murdering people on television. And now his gimmick is that he's got a big guitar.
And he's got his hands as well.
He's got his hands. He got those hands. Will you get those hands? Who's going to get the hands?
The merchandise sales.
Get this merch.
What? I don't mind, I didn't mind the silly mixed match challenge thing he did with.
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah,
because he did that stuff with Alexa Bliss where he had a massive shirt on, and he gave his to Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss gave her shirt to him, but it was too small, so he kind of put it over his neck and some of his shoulder. And it was like, ha, 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 ha. And then they're doing this will they, won't they thing.
Yeah.
Where they're going, you're kind of cute. And then Alexa Bliss is like, you're kind of cute too. And it's just really weird. I get it, because it's like mixed match and I can't even say it. Mixed match.
Don't worry. Much longer.
Yeah.
You can.
And I get it, because it's only like a Facebook thing. So it's a little bit. And I got on board with that. But then when you start putting it in actual raw time, I'm like, eh.
There's been some really funny. It's a bit of a tangent, but there's been some really funny stuff on the mixed match challenge. It's been kind of a flop, and I don't think they'll do it again. And I know a lot of people in the company aren't super pleased with it, but there's been some if you want something fun to watch, and you can find it, it is worth seeking out this week's mixed match challenge, because Lana and Rusev are on it. And it is hilarious.
Is it?
Rusev comes out with a matching outfit to Lana. It's not Lana wearing Rusev's outfit. Rusev has a leotard in Lana's colours. Lana goes insane and keeps stealing weapons and chasing people with them and just going. And Rusev having to calm her down. It has, spoiler, it involves Lana's first televised win.
Yeah.
And it came off kind of a botch. of course, but and just like
swings and roundabouts.
Maybe she went into business for herself.
And just like Rusev just hyping Lana up, and like chanting Lana Day and stuff. It's the most adorable thing. It's wonderful. So back to the show. Balor does his filming his stuff on a phone promo, which we talked about. Roman Reigns versus Sheamus. Standard Reigns match. He kicks out of everything, chases off Cesaro, gets a spear, gets the win. Yay! Does this do anything for anyone?
Yeah, apparently, because you need to build Roman Reigns up more and more and more.
Time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a filler.
Yeah.
To get us to the main event, the fatal 5-way match, because Seth Rollins was in it for some reason.
Didn't Seth Rollins get put in that to then be put in Elimination Chamber? Whoever won that would be put in the Elimination Chamber?
He asked to be put in this match, and then whoever wins that. Which is a weird one anyway, because it's a match between all the people who lost their qualifying matches, and Seth Rollins, who's just lost tag team partners. It was an alright match. It was just a string of spots, because that's what fatal 5-way matches are, pretty much. It's just everyone coming in, doing their stuff, while everyone else kind of rolls around on the outside and pretends that they can't be in it.
Hey man,
me in the face.
The business spoon.
Hey, I mean, it's it's tough to do. It's not as tough as doing a Hateful Eight match. They're the really tough ones to do, from what I hear. But everyone does their big moves. Everyone gets a little moment. Finally, stack up powerbomb. Balor and Rollins both pin Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt makes up for having had a win over Matt Hardy by being pinned by 2 people at once off a move that isn't even a finisher.
So stupid.
So both Balor and Rollins pin Bray. We go off the air with both of them celebrating. The commentators saying, oh, what is this going to mean? What's going to happen? Are we going to find out next week? No, they just tweet it. They just tweet it as soon as the show's finished.
They're both in chamber.
They're both in chamber.
I was going to say that because it wasn't announced at the end of the match. So I was like, oh, okay, so they've obviously tweeted it.
Yep.
So let me get this right. Balor does the job to Cena just so he can win this match to get into the Elimination Chamber.
And then Rollins wins it as well. Yep. Kind of. Don't know what that's
because they're both on Bray Wyatt and they both pin him. Even though the ref doesn't the ref say something like, "Hey, you both can't pin him at the same time"?
I don't know. But like, I always sort of thought that the Elimination Chamber was one like structure. It's not an easy thing to modify. So, like, are they going to have to be in the same pod together?
No,
just two of them just bickering and how will the indestructible Lexan glass stand up to 2 people when it just kind of tends to just fall out of the frame if someone breathes on it?
I think the chain. Go on.
I was just going to say it's not like a shark cage though. You can fit 2 of them in it. They might be touching each other, but.
I was going to say that's probably what it's going to be like. It's probably going to be a shark cage suspended above. And then when that person gets released, the bottom of the thing just comes out, and he falls down into the match.
Just coup de grace straight from the cage.
Or coup de grace, or what do you call it? The curb stomp.
Curb stomp. Well, more likely drops out of it straight into a spear. Reigns pins him. It's the fact we know Reigns is winning this match that kind of just makes it all so pointless. But I guess maybe it'll start as a triple threat. But that was Raw. Weird show. But it's fortunate because SmackDown was also a weird show.
Can we talk about Capital Combat first?
Do you want to jump in and talk about Capital Combat here? Okay, let's throw this in. There is no reason for talking about this.
To be fair, let's call it by its full name, Spoonie.
Capital Combat 1990: The Return of Robocop.
There we go.
So we've been doing this thing where we've been watching old pay-per-views, mostly old WCW pay-per-views, but stuff from the late 80s, early 90s, peak Ric Flair, this kind of era. And most of them are very good. Capital Combat is so weird. If you have 3 hours to kill and want to go and watch something on the network, Capital Combat 1990 is everything you want from a ridiculous pay-per-view. So, Vintage, go through some of the stuff that's on this pay-per-view, because it's mad.
So So the very first match is a 6-man tag.
Yeah.
With Road Warriors, Norman the Lunatic. There's a
good PC gimmick.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It really seemed like a Eugene gimmick. I didn't.
He's billed as being from the state hospital.
That was it. That's what kind of. Yeah, and then Bam Bam Bigelow, Cactus Jack, and Kevin Sullivan. Is that the producer, Kevin Sullivan?
I think he did become Kevin Sullivan became a producer in the end. He Games Master Kevin Sullivan is a massive deal in WCW.
Yeah,
and then later on.
So mainly this was me trying to understand how Hawk could be so terrible.
He's pretty stiff, isn't he?
He's really stiff, and it's even like when he's throwing a clothesline, he doesn't run straight. And so you go past the guy as you line them. He goes at them kind of diagonally, so he kind of hits them with his chest and shoulder with a line.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but in fact, it's more chest that is. Oh, it just looks so horrible. And he does it a few times as well.
Yeah.
And then he picks up the stairs and throws them at Jack. I think it's Jack, and doesn't get DQ'd for it.
Yeah. No,
and then there's this brilliant bit where the heels are on top, and I think it's Kevin Sullivan. I think he has. It must be Animal. And he takes him over to the face corner and starts badmouthing the faces to obviously entice them in so he can then take him back to the heel corner and they can kind of do some stuff behind the rest back. But then Hawk just gets in and starts giving him some shots. And then Kevin no-sells them because he's like, hang on, what's going on? And then Hawk just kind of wanders back out again. It's just so weird.
There's so many strange matches.
And like the psychology is just terrible. And it's not just this match, there's a few matches where the guy's down and they don't pin him.
Yeah. There's a bit of that.
Yeah, there's like hardly any pinfalls. So the psychology is really weird.
So my favourite bits on the show.
Let me talk about Teddy Long.
Okay, let's talk about Teddy Long, who, should say, for context, was a really big deal in WCW at that time. Like, he was their main heel manager. He was a referee who became corrupt and got thrown out, came back, managed the Twin Towers. He's a big heel manager. He's their Bobby Heenan right now.
So he's managing Undertaker.
Mean Mark Callis.
Yep.
Second pay-per-view appearance.
Yes. So he comes out 3 times in this show. Teddy Long.
Yeah, he's working hard.
Triple duty. Give him an IC belt. He is the workhorse. He needs the worker's belt. And has a match as well.
Yes, he does.
The other thing I meant to say to you, there's 8 matches on this card, and if you say that a regular tag match is a gimmick match as well, there's only one non-gimmick match on this, and it is Undertaker.
Yep. Against Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis. Very young.
Oh, is that how it is?
Yeah, that's who Johnny Ace is.
Oh my goodness.
Taker, still quite I like the fact his finisher is Mean Mark Callis's finisher is a walk the ropes elbow drop, bit like Xavier Woods does now, but obviously with shades of old school in there. And when he does it, they have the slammer meter pop up on screen, which
the only time they used it as well.
Jim Ross spends ages. You can tell Jim Ross really doesn't want to do this, and just spends ages explaining what the slammer meter is, and it's just some awful 90s graphic that pops up on screen, and he's like, "Oh, that was an 8. Will we see any bigger moves than that tonight? No, because that's the only time they use the slammer meter in the entire.
But they were really hyping it up as well.
I know. I thought this was going to be like a decider in a match. Nope, never mentioned again. Never came back.
But the first 2 tag matches had exactly the same finish as well, where it's the ref basically bundling out the illegal face tag partner out of the ring because he's not getting out quickly enough, and then the heel's partner coming in and doing an illegal move while the ref's back's turned, and then turning around and making the pinfall, and the face, the tag partner who's just been pushed out, not wanting to come in and make the save.
If it ain't broke. I was a big fan of the Rock and Roll Express's entrance crashing. They came out on like a motorized stage with like an old jukebox to dance around. Except the stage was basically the same width as the entranceway, and so halfway down it just kind of crashes into one of the barriers and gets stuck. And they have to and the both of them kind of wobble around and then just have to get off it and walk off, and just go the rest of the way to the ring. Just brilliant stuff. But of course, the highlights of it are all Sting related, because everything in WCW at that time is classic beach surfer Sting, who is still injured at this point. The previous pay-per-view was dedicated to Sting, and everyone was wearing armbands, black armbands with Sting on it, like he died, but he just had a broken leg. And the previous one to this finished with Sting coming out with his broken leg to cheer on Lex Luger against Ric Flair, and then just basically getting kidnapped by the Horsemen, and Luger having to go rescue him and losing the title match because of it. So Sting just a huge liability. In this one, Sting has teamed up with Robocop. Robocop is the special guest. They keep doing cutaways to the back, being like, "Oh, will we hear from Sting and Robocop anytime soon?" Gordon Soley's out there trying to get an interview, but there's just a door with smoke coming out of it and some guards, and like, "Oh, can't get in there at the moment." And then,
why is there smoke coming from
I
it?
don't know. And then eventually,
vaping was a thing.
Eventually they come out. Robocop comes walking out of the thing. The camera kind of does a thing like in like Cloverfield.
Yeah.
It sort of goes shaky, and there's static, and then it falls on the floor like it's in the Blair Witch or Cloverfield or something. But Gordon Soley's just talking normally behind it, so he hasn't fallen over. Sting comes out to the ring on his own, because Robocop's really slow.
We don't even know why he's come out at this point. We don't know why he's
for no reason whatsoever. He's just comes out just in his t-shirt and his sweatpants.
He's not even holding a microphone, so it's not like he's going to cut a promo or anything.
Just coming down to see everyone. Gets jumped by the Horseman, which includes Sid at the moment. Sid's in the Horseman in this.
Looking really awkward the entire time.
They put him into a cage, which is just there from from Cornette being in it in a previous match. They bundle him into this shark cage, lock him in it for no reason. Like, I don't know what were they going to just starve him? They put him in the cage for some reason.
Probably him or something, maybe.
Yeah. At which point, Robocop does not so much a run-in as a very, very slow walk-in, doing his little robot walk. Walks down.
Does he have an entrance theme?
Nope, it's just walks down.
His entrance theme is the commentator shouting, "Oh my God, here comes Robocop!"
Yeah, the Horsemen, bless them, earning their paychecks, despite being serious professional wrestlers, all run away from Robocop. Robocop takes hold of the cage, bends the bars, and then just opens it so that Sting can get out.
He
takes the door off, doesn't he?
Yeah, because it was padlocked.
That was it.
Shut. And as he's pulling it, the padlock comes off, so it opens up. and then he has to continue because the whole spot is him pulling it off the hinges. So he's broken the padlock, but rather than just opening it, it's off his hinges still.
And then the Horseman, obviously, he can't chase the Horseman because he can't climb over a barrier or anything. So the Horseman just climb the barrier anyway and just run away. And Sting and Robocop just sort of stand around in the entranceway.
And then go back.
Making small talk. And then they just go backstage. No, that's the highlight halfway through. That was the big billing. Okay. Robocop then makes no further appearances on the show that is named after him.
Amazing.
At the end, the main event is Luger versus Ric Flair in a cage for the title. Really nice spot at the end where the Horsemen come down to the ring, and Ole Anderson, rather than just trying to find a way, like trying to find bolt cutters or trying to come up with some clever way of getting in the cage, Ole Anderson just goes to the special effects desk, beats up the guy doing it, and just takes control of the cage and just lifts it up so that the others can get in, which is quite nice. No one ever does that. Quite sensible thing. So they go in, beat up Luger, and then Sting does a run in again, but not with Robocop, because I guess that they could only afford him for one of it. With
I was going to say with Predator. Predator, maybe.
Oh, that'd be great. With El
He was dressed like
Gigante.
Predator.
El Gigante, who is dressed in a costume that looks like his mum made it. El Gigante is a sort of basketball height, like 6'10" guy, but not like
7'7", wasn't it? They were billing him as?
7'7", 400 pounds. JR was trying to bill him as, which is ambitious given that he's thinner than I am. In a sort of just a weird American Gladiators kind of weird sort of boxy Blue Peter costume. He clearly doesn't know who. He must have been brought out last minute. He doesn't seem to know what he's meant to be doing or who the heels are. Like the heels are running up next to him, and he's like, just kind of looking at them.
And Sid's like not even trying to work him either. Sid's like kind of standing there too.
Just ignoring him. Arn Anderson is sort of like keeps forgetting he's there because he's not trying to attack them or anything, and then Arn's having to be like, oh no, it's him, and just running away. It is. It should be said, there's some really good wrestling on the show. The Steiner's match is really good.
So wait, so the main event finished as a DQ.
The main event finishes as a DQ in a cage match because that's nice allowed.
And considering all the stuff people weren't getting DQ'd for earlier as well.
Yeah, it's Flair is really good. There is some great wrestling in it, but if you want to see some really silly old wrestling, like all the things we love about old dumb wrestling, go and watch Capital Combat 1990 on the network. It is just wonderful.
What's his full name, Spoon?
Capital Combat: The Return of Robocop. It's not the return though. He's never been here, but like that's his debut. He's never.
Is it the actual actor that plays Robocop?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. We've got Robocop.
I bet it's not. I bet it isn't. But it's it's at the same time that Zeus, a movie character, was appearing in WWF. So I think it's to do with that. Oh my goodness! Should we talk about SmackDown? We're already on that. Let's rattle through SmackDown because fortunately it was shorter. All right, so
but it was better though. It was. Raw was very average to poor.
Raw had a lot of filler, which it always does because of that third hour, whereas SmackDown actually was pretty good. Interestingly, Ross and I are going to see Raw in May. Our tickets came through today, so we're quite excited.
Oh, yeah.
Although there's a little bit of me that's kind of... Because we picked Raw, obviously, because it's the 3-hour show. If you go to Raw, you get just 3 hours of Raw. If you go to SmackDown, you get 2 hours of SmackDown and you get 205 Live. And we were like, would like to see Daniel Bryan. Don't really want to see 205 Live, so we'll go to Raw. There'll be like post-Mania stuff happening. But now Hunter is running 205 Live. Yeah. There's a good chance it will be really good by then. So
and Spud as well.
Yeah, so that could be a miss out, but we'll see. So this week on SmackDown itself, opens with Dolph Ziggler comes out with his record scratch Silence, and then his actual music starts, and he comes out. And he's a face now. So that whatever happened before was pointless. So he's just back to being normal. He's going to fight Baron Corbin for some reason. But Owens and Zayn, Ty Dillinger him backstage, beat him up. He comes back a little bit, but he just gets beaten up again because Baron Corbin's the worst. And then they go out and they beat up Dolph Ziggler for some reason. And then Baron Corbin comes back out and they beat up Baron Corbin again because they can't have him not get beaten up twice on a show. I mean, it's already better than the actual invasion angle. As invasion angles go, Owens and Zayn versus the entire WWE locker room. It's quite good.
Oh, so Baron's a face now as well.
Yeah, is Corbin a face?
Yeah.
How is that
weird?
I don't understand any of it.
So are they shorter faces? Is that the problem with SmackDown?
No, they've got loads, but for some reason they're deciding they're paralleling Raw a lot same as what they did with the women. They're just like, I'll just throw loads of people into a main event.
The two top faces, Shinsuke and AJ, are in a program together, though, aren't they?
True, and I guess they're trying to build out the US title picture by moving people like Randy and Jinder, and they've got Rude in there, and so they're moving people who were main eventers to that to try and get that belt over a bit. But after just being on Baron Corbin for a couple of weeks, it needs to pick it up again.
He's cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think Dolph has. My mate Matt was telling me that Dolph has rearranged a new contract with WWE as well, where he can go off and do other stuff. Like if they want him to be what he is doing at the moment, I think he's asked WWE if he can have more leeway on the stuff he does outside.
Yeah, because I think he's acting, isn't he, and doing comedy and
yeah. So it'd probably be like a Chris Jericho.
Yeah,
maybe.
Probably.
I think he should go to like New Japan or something, or maybe
he deserves a big run in a company somewhere, and he's not going to get it in WWE. But we get a so that happens. We don't find out why until later in the show. Instead, we get Charlotte versus Sarah Logan. Becky and Naomi come out for some reason.
Because they don't know how to put the women's division again.
Yeah, just get them on telly. They come to hang out with Charlotte. Charlotte, there's a really great shot when Becky comes out and is doing a big intro. The commentators are going nuts for the fact that Becky's come to back her up, and it just cuts to Charlotte, and she just gives this shrug to the camera, like she just could not care less about the fact that other people are there. Really like Sarah Logan. She is. I've liked her since the Mae Young Classic. She's the workhorse of the Riot Squad. I just think she's always great in the ring. She's just really solid. You're not sure, Vintage?
Well, she's no Teddy Long, is she?
She's no Teddy Long. To be fair, she's not pulling 3 matches. But Charlotte wins. Best natural selection I have ever seen. Logan takes it from standing, basically, and spikes herself on the top of her head, taking it. It looks brutal. Like, really believable as a finisher. I'm not entirely sure it's the safe way to take that move, but it looked amazing. So Charlotte wins that match. She's in a bit of a holding pattern until they get Asuka over, but, beating up the Riot Squad's kind of keeping it going. Then we get another sort of passive-aggressive Shane Bryan promo, where Shane's like, oh, he did that. Well, it's not how I'd have done it, but, that's fine, I guess. But
just watch yourself, Daniel, Okay, good.
Just kiss already. What are they?
Just take him out for a date, Jesus.
I don't know what. And then so Shane makes it so that Owens takes on Corbin tonight. Sammy takes on Dolph. If Dolph or Corbin win, they go into the match at Fastlane. Because yay for multi-person matches. If Owens or Zayn interfere in each other's matches, they're out of the match, so they've got to do it as a one-on-one match. Just standard SmackDown booking. Everyone's in a match at the end. So then we get Owens versus Corbin. It's fine. I love Owens' t-shirt. Would you wear a Fight Anyone t-shirt out in public?
It's the gimmick, though, isn't it?
It is, but
it's the prize fighter gimmick, isn't it?
It is, but would you wear a Fight Anyone t-shirt to the pub?
Would I buy his merch? What you're asking me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy Braun's
do not. Yeah, I will wear a Get These Hands. I mean, there are some clubs you would not want to wear a Get These Hands t-shirt to, but you probably survive longer than the Fight Anyone. So Corbin wins. He's in the match now. It wasn't very good. He's a face, I guess, but who knows. Bobby Roode open challenge comes up. Bobby Roode comes out. He's going to take challenges from anyone, except he isn't, because he's going to challenge Randy Orton for some reason, because he doesn't know how the open challenge works, I guess.
Well, Randy Orton does need it,
Yeah, he needs something. Jinder comes out, as well as Randy Orton. They all argue about the SmackDown top 10 list, which is the new thing they have.
Which was so annoying anyway. Why are you doing a top 10 list?
It's the worst. SmackDown needs filler. It's only a 2-hour show. It's the worst. So the three of them argue about where they all came in the top 10 this one, except Randy Orton, who both in and out of character could not give less of a fuck about this just awful thing. Just looks so bored. And then, of course, is it Samir who's left? I can't remember which Singh brother is still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets an RKO because, of course, he's the one who gets the RKO. And then Jinder beats them both up because Jinder is apparently really great again. I know
he's
you
going to
have
make
to
the US Championship. He's going to make the US Championship great again.
Oh God, there's a thing about the Kalas is an awful finisher. We hate his video, but there's something about the way he has to put it on if he doesn't do it facing the camera, because we all know, like, from most finishers, any kind of pause finisher, F5 or anything, you have to, once you've got it locked in, you have to turn to the main camera so they can see you do the move. It works for stuff that's on the shoulders, like F5 and things. It was great when Punk did it with GTS. It looks so clumsy doing it with it. Like, he slapped it on facing the wrong way and then had to, like, just kind of just drag him around the ring to get him in front of the camera to do the move. Just looks awful. So Jinder's beaten both of them up. That was Randy Orton's role on the show. Turn up with his new haircut, look confused, get beaten up by Jinder. Yeah, I'll care from nowhere on someone. Like,
and then get beaten up.
I know that his thing now is he has a light schedule. Like, he's made no kind of bones about the fact that, like, his contract is that he doesn't do much, which is fair. I think he's more than earned that, but he's doing nothing right now. It's a weird situation. Are you excited to see those three wrestle for the US Championship?
I don't really like the belt, if I'm honest. I've never really liked it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't think it looks great. I think it was great when Cena had his open challenge. Cena got that over.
It's nowhere near comparable to the IC belt, which is what they're trying to say it is.
No, the IC belt is the mid-card title. US title has never been there. So,
but what would you replace it with? Because, I mean, the European title is still not as prestigious, but at least they were honest about what it was.
Yeah, I just think there's too many belts. It's just a thing about the brand split that I'm not a fan of.
But so each brand has its top belt and its mid-card belt. So if you get rid of the US belt, you could replace it with something else.
It would just be it would be the same. The trouble is, it's just kind of, you could redesign it, but the problem isn't that it's the US belt. The problem is just that there aren't enough people. The mid-card isn't working at the moment. It's the booking, not the belt.
Yeah,
I would say. But we'll see. So we then get a New Day promo. The New Day come out. Big E is going to do a pancake eating competition.
Well, to be fair, that's what everyone wants to see. So
exactly. That's what people paid for their tickets for. Feeling less bad about not getting those SmackDown tickets now. Benjamin and Gable, American Alpha-ish, come out. Nobody cares. They have a match. It's really good. They're really good in it. Still, nobody cares.
Isn't it because Sean Benjamin likes pie instead of pancakes? Or something?
I think that was what they were on Fashion Files a week ago. Like, they are nowhere now. They are just. I don't know what these two have to do to get over. Chad Gable is so good, but it's just not working for him. Maybe they need Jason Jordan back, or maybe like Chad Gable should move to Raw and, like, usurp Jason Jordan's place as Kurt Angle's son, like, get adopted by him.
see if Angle notices.
And then they can have a Kurt Angle on a pole match. At the like do a rerun of the Eddie Guerrero. Rey Mysterio angle with the custody papers on a pole match, except they're both just trying to get themselves custody as Kurt Angle's son. I don't know what they have to do. I love that rolling German suplex, but they're just not going anywhere. Speaking of the tag team division, though, we get the Usos cut a promo on a television, and then the Bludgeon Brothers smash it with hammers.
I can't believe why is it.
It's really weird when you see them smash it, though, because every time they do like that with the smashing of a TV, always this paper behind the TV that falls out. It's really weird.
It's not like
but it was.
That's so vintage. You hate the Bludgeon Brothers, don't you?
I just think they need to release them, both of them, because I just don't like either of them, and they're just wasting time with them.
I quite like them as a monster team. They fit a role fine. I don't see what the place for them is after WrestleMania, because they're going to call up the Authors of Pain after Mania.
You got War Machine as well coming in.
And War Machine will take over in NXT. Authors of Pain have got nothing less to do in NXT, so they'll come up to the main roster. They got Paul Ellering with them. They're a better monster team than the Bludgeon Brothers are.
To be fair,
I don't see where they go after that.
Aren't the Authors of Pain really unsafe though?
No, not anymore. They were when they started out, but now they've improved a huge amount. They're a really good team now. Interestingly, if you watch, because I watched some of SmackDown as a highlight package, and the highlight package of this bit was literally 2 seconds long. It was the Usos saying "Welcome to the Uso Penitentiary," and then the Bludgeon Brothers just hitting it with a hammer, and then straight move. I was like, I wish it was that long in it, and it's just people doing bits of promos and then getting hit with a hammer. So we get some more tension between Sammy and Kevin. Sammy invites Dolph. Obviously, Dolph wins. Yay. Dolph's in the match as well. It was a big surprise. They were clearly not ready for it, even though they had the promo thing ready to go for everyone being in the match.
Yeah.
So amazing foresight that they knew that match was going to take place, and Dolph would win.
Stop exposing the business.
Weird show, more focused than Raw, but just kind of, moving pieces around.
It was more interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. So let's anything more to say about those shows, or should we very quickly talk about how we did on Royal Rumble predictions?
I was going to say quickly.
All right.
I was going to say quickly on that.
Yeah.
Do you know apparently that why Ty Dillinger's been off air for quite a while?
No, why?
It's because apparently Vince doesn't like the 10 thing. So he's which he created, which doesn't make any sense.
That's his entire... Can you imagine if you're Ty Dillinger and he comes to you and he's like, I really like you, kid, just lose the 10 thing.
Yeah. So apparently they've kept him off TV because they want people to stop chanting 10 when the referee does an outside count, or the pin is 10, because apparently he doesn't like it.
That's classic Vince, though, isn't it? That explains why he got jumped at the Royal Rumble as well.
That's such classic Vince. Oh,
so why did you create it if you didn't?
Triple H created it, dude.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay,
that's so stupid.
Right, I've really messed up here, because the whole thing of the vintage quiz is that it's completely unrelated to what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And I ended up writing 2.
What?
I ended up writing 2, and you'll see why soon.
Oh my God.
And it turns out both of them are related to what we're talking about.
Oh, I hate these quizzes. Come on then, right.
So you've got 2 choices.
We're already at an hour and 13, so we've got plenty of time to
we've got 2 choices. You've got the Royal Rumble quiz.
Okay.
Because I thought, the hilarity of it, that we're not going to be talking about Royal Rumble because it's an old pay-per-view, and
sure. And
I could have done an Elimination Chamber quiz, but I decided to do Royal Rumble.
Okay, or
Robocop.
Or a Robocop quiz. I think it has to be a Robocop quiz.
Yeah, let's do Robocop.
Given the week we've had, is it a return of Robocop quiz or just a Robocop quiz?
It wouldn't be fair to you to do Robocop 2 quiz, so it's Robocop.
That's going to be a Robocop quiz. Ross, you seen Robocop?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, in fact, we'll do a buzzer for this because it makes more sense.
Okay.
All right.
What's your buzzer, Spoon?
Buzz.
What's yours, Ross?
Jesus!
God damn it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. What year was Robocop released in?
Buzz? 1980. No, wait, 1990. To go with the pay-per-view.
Ross?
1988.
Ross is closer. It's 1987.
Of course. That's why he's returning.
His Robocop 2 was being released in 1990.
Okay.
And that's what the pay-per-view is about.
Right. Obviously.
Right. What year is Robocop set in?
Jesus! 2022?
2012.
Right. Well, you're both wrong because it's the near future.
It's a question. Oh, god damn it. Quizzes, man. All right, next question.
What's Robocop's real name?
Buzz John Madden?
Not the John Madden, surely.
No, it's a different John Madden. It's just a coincidence. And they're always, that's a running thing in the movie. They're like, what? You're the John Madden? And he's like, no, I'm the other one. I'm Robocop. That happens all the I get mistaken from all the time.
That is so annoying.
Yeah, you don't even need both names. You just need the surname. Would do.
Something Stevens.
No, you're well off. Alex Murphy.
Murphy. Knew that. Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. Now we're getting into it. I'll take any of the three. What are Robocop's three directives?
Uphold the law.
I'll wait for someone to buzz.
Buzz, uphold the law.
Yes.
Jesus! To protect and serve.
So yeah, kind of. Spoonie's getting the point.
Yes.
It was serve the public trust, protect the innocent, and uphold the law.
Right.
What's his fourth directive? The secret fourth directive. Go on.
Don't kill civilians?
Nope. Make a great pina colada.
So, you guys haven't seen this film in a while, have you?
I have never seen Robocop.
What? Why did you pick this quiz?
Because I really like Capital Combat.
Well, now you do know something about it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so the whole point is that he's been given these three directives that you told about at the start, which are his robotic laws that he cannot break. And then it gets to halfway during the film and he finds out that one of the executives of the company that made him it murdered someone or something. He finds out he's a bad guy. There's the heel turn in front of him. And Robocop goes to arrest him, at which point he finds out that he's got a secret fourth directive that no one knew about that was programmed into him secretly, and it's that he can't arrest any of the executives of the company.
Scandalous.
And that's the whole point of the climax of the film, because he's got the gun pointed at the main bad guy, who's like, well, you can't shoot me because I'm an executive type thing, ha ha ha. At which point his boss fires him, and then Robocop shoots him.
Oh yeah. I remember that now.
Good ending. I don't have to see that movie now.
Of course you do. It's really good. There's loads of bits in it which are awesome, like the toxic waste guy getting hit by a car and exploding.
Are any of them as good as him pulling a door off a cage to save Sting?
Well, there's also the bit where he gets killed by shotguns, which is really iconic as well.
Very gory.
Yeah, it was really, yeah.
Is Sting involved in that bit?
All right.
He's one of the ones with the shotguns.
I was going to ask the last question, but there seems to be no point because you won't know the answer.
Go on, I'll take a guess.
Okay, what was the original enforcement droid that was being proposed to executives before the Robocop program happened?
Buzz. Wall-E?
You are clubbing.
Robot Jeff.
Justice Bringer.
Ed 209.
Close.
Oh.
Pretty close.
To be fair, though, because considering you haven't seen the film, you actually beat Ross 1-0.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely didn't. Ross definitely. We always do this. Every. You always say I've won at the end of the quiz, and I've done the tallies on them, and I'm pretty sure I have. Like, Ross definitely got a point that I didn't somewhere.
Oh no, you're right. He did. He got the closest year to release.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a draw.
It's a draw. I mean, I don't think it was a huge stretch to guess that his Robocop had a directive to uphold the law.
To be fair, though, it was verbatim. Though it wasn't like he said, like enforce the law or anything.
Right.
It's the uphold as well that he got.
Hey, I'll take that. Like,
the Royal Rumble quiz was you were going to have to take in turns to name all the entrants.
Oh God, like Ric Flair taking a DQ win. I'll take a draw on that quiz. So let's wrap it up because we're at an hour 20. Royal Rumble was pretty good. Best Rumble in a while. Some nice bits at the end. Ronda Rousey can't point. I can't predict Royal Rumbles. I think what were the final scores? I think Ross had 5. Vintage, I think you were on 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like that. I got 1. The only thing that I got correct was Brock Lesnar retaining his title, which I think there are people who have never heard of the idea of wrestling who knew that was the result of that match. I could not have been more wrong. Most of our picks for our surprise entrance didn't turn up in the Rumble. Actually, I don't think Lita did. Ronda Rousey annoyingly turned up at the end, and so no one got points for it. And that is actually all we have because our audio cut out at that point, and I think it's because you don't deserve the best of us, so we're going to leave our United States title lying here in the ring and walk away until we return in a week, like Dolph Ziggler. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Let us know all of your thoughts. Hello to Paul and Paul's cat. We'll see you next week.